What's up guys, Matt here, and in this video I'm going to be unboxing, assembling, and installing this JUBEST white barn door, and welcome to my attic. It is a total project zone. Full disclosure, I did receive this to do this video. Let's get right to it. So first thing, let's get everything unboxed and unpackaged. When I do big projects like this, I like to just lay everything out clearly so I can see it all. So as you can see, they have everything labeled with stickers on the different pieces, A1, A2, B1, B2, B3, and then there's C1, C2 as well. And then the different hardware packs, they also have labeled, oh, there's also a C3. And then here's the user manual. Speaking of the user manual, it's only 9 pages, and I went ahead and scanned all of them and included them on screen here just in case you need to reference back. They got all the main bolts for putting together the door, and then the hardware for the mounting right here, as well as the spacers. And then here's the stoppers, and then we have the door handle in the box right next to it right here. And then the actual 8-foot rail. So I had a 52-inch opening for a 48-inch door. That's not gonna work. So I did frame it in a little bit more to get to about 45.5 inches. So let's dive into the manual and start getting this door assembled. And first off, here is everything included. And pay specific attention to what tools are required. You will need quite a few tools. And then if you're mounting on a standard drywall wall, you will need your own piece of lumber, and they have the size for that here. I did end up buying my own piece of lumber and painted it later in this video, so you can also just watch along. So the next page of the manual just has us assembled to their chart here, matching the C1, C2, the labelings they have there. So I took all the pieces as they were labeled and laid them out. Now to step 1, we're basically just going to connect B1, B2, B3 to that A1 side rail on the left using bolts. And don't forget to use the washers on the bolt, and you can use the included Allen wrench. I did find it helpful to prop them up on packaging to turn the Allen wrench a little easier. On to step 2. So now we basically just slide all these boards into the slots we just created. Make sure the tongues are left that way, and then the grooves will face right. They just slot right in, and it's so satisfying. On to step 3. Now we're basically just putting that right rail on, which we're going to use these 5 bolts. And don't forget to put the washers on the bolts. I may or may not know someone who did that and had to go back and fix them all. So on to step 4, which is pretty easy. Make sure all the bolts are tightened and put these plastic caps over the bolt holes. So just double checking all those holes that the bolts are tight and putting those caps on. All right, that's it for the door. So no step 5. It goes back to step 1 for this roller installation. We're basically going to put them in the corners of the door there, and you'll need an 11/16 and a 5/8 wrench for this, or at least for the easiest way to do it, because one will hold the bottom while the other one can tighten the top, just like you see. So that's it for step 1, and then on to step 2, putting on these anti-jump blocks, which they just screw in, surprisingly, just with a screwdriver. So I pulled them out of the hardware box here, and then I used cardboard boxes that came with this kit as spacers, actually, so I'd get perfectly symmetrical placements for these little blocks. And if you're planning on mounting into concrete, you can follow step 3, step 4, step 5. If you'll be mounting into drywall like me, you can go straight to step 6. So if you're mounting into drywall, this is where you'll need your own piece of lumber. This is where I went to my local hardware store, picked up this 1x6x8, and the actual dimensions are 3/4 of an inch by 5.5 inches by 8 feet. Make sure to follow the user manual for what length and size this board should be, depending on what size door you got. And then I chose to prime mine twice and then paint it for the white look. So here's where I got super technical with my measurements. I wanted to make sure the door would hang high enough, but also overlap the opening enough. So I triple checked my measurements, marked where the studs were, had my wife hold the board level so I could screw it in, and then got it screwed in with some hefty screws. So in addition to buying this piece of lumber, you'll also need to get your own screws for this step. Now on to step 7, where we're going to drill 3/16 pilot holes into the wood blocking to mount the rail. So I had my wife hold this, we put the level on there, and then got it in position, and I drilled with my 3/16 drill bit. Now on to step 8, where we will install the rail. In my opinion, this is the most important step to make sure that the rail is level. So this is the bolt and the spacer you'll need. Make sure to have that washer on the bolt and a 1/2-inch wrench. And the spacers actually did come backwards on it, so I flipped those around. The big side does go toward the blocking. I had my wife hold that bar graciously. She was so kind to help. And then I got the first 2 bolts in to relieve her of having to hold that up. And then I got to putting the other spacers and bolts in with that 1/2-inch wrench. And if you're real picky like me, you can plan for the rail to be the exact middle of the blocking. It looks so satisfying. We love how it turned out. And now for step 9, to actually hang the door. So we're just placing the door on the rail here. I found it pretty easy to just slide it on horizontally, and then gave it a few test pushes to make sure it's working right. So on to the next step, where we can choose between a floor mounted door guide or a wall mounted door guide. So this is what the floor mounted one looks like, and you do just screw right into the floor. It has 2 anchors and 2 screws, but I have vinyl plank flooring in this room, so I opted to use the wall mounting door guides. It looks like this. It's got these 2 bolts that you can adjust. So you can just let the door hang and adjust the bolts for where the door naturally hangs, and these guides will just keep that door from wobbling. So I did exactly that. I tightened the bolts where the door naturally hung, and then I screwed in the wall mount guide. On to the next step, to install the stoppers to stop the door from rolling off the track. Here's what they look like. It's just 2 set screws with an included Allen wrench. I started with the left side and made sure to put the stopper in a place where the door still covers the opening properly, and same thing for the right side. And make sure to get the set screws nice and tight so it actually stops the door. On to the next step, step 12, handle installation. We're just fixing the handle to the door with screws. So I went to the handle box, opened up these massive bolts that come with it, and included Allen wrench, of course. Here's the handle for one side, and then they do have these little handle caps for aesthetic purposes, and then the main handle. As for the install for this one, it was pretty straightforward. Make sure to have the large handle inside whatever room this barn door is going on. You want that flat side on the side that will go against the wall. And so satisfying. So much easier to open. So step 13, the final step for lock installation. I actually opted not to have a lock. We didn't want a lock for this room, but here's everything it comes with, and you can install it just like the picture in the manual. And that's technically it for the install. We're done. Oh wait, they're stickers. Yeah, these definitely had to go. Fortunately, they did peel off really easy. Now that I was all complete, I had to give it a test run and enjoy the fruits of my labor, make sure everything stayed where it should and was level and plumb, and then gave it a nice push and let the stopper do its job just to make sure. And sure enough, so satisfying. Overall, I've been so impressed by the quality of materials used, the solid metal handles, the metal rail, how smooth the rollers are, how easy it is to adjust the stoppers, the fact that they include different options for the floor guide or wall guide, the quality of packaging, and that everything arrived safely and intact, and wow, does this make a big difference. The surface is actually waterproof and scratch-proof PVC over MDF, and I have no doubt it's going to last for years to come and be very easy to clean. So that's all for this one. I hope this video showed you what to expect, the install process, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye!